here to listen about, whether it's kindergarten through 12th grade, go ahead and put that in the chat so I have a little bit of an idea of what you're here to see and we can tailor this presentation. Holly, will you let me know what you're seeing?
Yes, I will. They're typing.
Great. Hold on. I'm going to close this door.
Kindergarten.
Lots of kinders. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started and others can join us as they come. We are recording this, so if you would like a copy of it to share with friends or with somebody else in your family, just let Rochelle Goforth know, who's our enrollment director. Welcome to our Westgate Community Night. At Westgate, everything starts in a circle, and I'll explain that a little bit from our history. But you will see here a kindergarten class with a teacher in circle in the morning, and then you will also see the staff at Westgate starting our first meeting back after COVID outside, and we decided to stretch and move together as a way to be together. The circle is so very important because it allows every student to be seen, heard, and valued at the beginning of every single day. Students don't have to participate in circle, but they're always welcomed, and a teacher sees and says every student's name every single day. So we're going to start this with a little bit of a warm-up. It's a video, and I hope you enjoy it. Holly, can you not hear it?
I can't.
On 1 second. Let me go to share to here. Every time I see that, I think, yes. And if you had to leave the presentation now for any reason, you would know a lot about how we think about education and what we believe about the partnership between child, school, and parent. So thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Sharon Collins. I'm the Executive Director of Westgate Community School. I've been here for 11 years. The school has been in Adams 12 for 15 years. And I'm excited every day to come to work, and I'm excited tonight to tell you a little bit about our school. Our agenda tonight: brief history about our school, about our programming model and what makes us different, because that's what you're here to hear about, and the enrollment process and lottery. And then there'll be some time for questions and answers. If you're thinking of questions, please put them in the chat. And if I don't answer them, we'll make sure we do at the end. Little history about us. So as I said, we started as a school 15 years ago, but the idea of Westgate started a couple of years before that. And it was teachers and parents standing around at Carline, picking up their kids at another school, where they started to talk about what gifted kids need, what all kids need, and what school could be for all children. And those conversations grew longer and longer in the parking lot, and they ended up around a kitchen table. This is why the circle is so very important to us. Our conversations about this school began in a circle, parents and teachers talking about what great education could be for kids. And the first thing they decided to do was discuss what, like I said, what kids need. But the first thing they get to do when you start a school is name it. So Westgate actually stands for welcoming exceptional students to gifted and talented education. And I'll talk about how we are different than other schools in our area when we talk about gifted and talented education. Our mission says a lot about who we are. At Westgate Community School, gifted education is provided to all students in a community that nurtures the whole child, empowers students to be authentic, supports individuals in reaching their own academic goals, develops stewardship for the environment, and inspires passion for serving the global community. And service learning, as I'll talk about later, is a part of every week at school from kindergarten through 12th grade. Our programming model. We are gifted education for the whole child. So I do want to acknowledge that everybody, every parent, every family is here thinking about what's the right match, what's the right school for my child. And at Westgate, whole child education is really our foundation and our focus. And here that means mind, body, community. And I'll talk a little bit about each of these aspects as we move forward. When we talk about the mind, we really are talking about the academic programming, the academic depth and complexity that we use. We are gifted education for all students. Gifted educational best practices are great for all learners, whether they're accelerated or in need of support. Hands-on problem-based learning that asks students to think deep and complex about issues every single day is good for everyone. We pre-assess. How do we do this? We pre-assess. We have differentiation in every class, and that means teachers knowing their students and tailoring the instruction to small groups within the classroom, so they're meeting the needs of all students, so that every student is in that zone of proximal learning where they're growing each and every day. If we need to, we compact units. If a whole class or part of a class is ready to move on, we compact and we move on. And then we post-assess to make sure the learning is in place, so then we can move on to the next unit or skill or standard. We are cutting edge and student-centered instructionally. We make sure that we are utilizing the most recent data and information about our kids and also about learning. We want to make sure that what we're doing in class is meeting the needs of the students who are in there, not the students who were in our class last year or the year before. Teachers are constantly changing their units to meet the needs of the kids before them. And they are not using curriculum in a way that every year the students are getting the same thing. They have 30, 25, 15 different kids sitting in front of them, and they need to be doing things differently to reach those individual students. We are a small school by design, and we have small classroom sizes. In kindergarten, the sweet spot is 15 to 18 students per teacher. We don't think having a teacher and a para in a class with 30 students is the same thing as 15 to 18 students being with their teacher all day long. In first grade through eighth grade, it's about 25 students per class. And in high school, the freshman class only has 30 students, sophomores, juniors, and seniors the same, up to 30 students. And I'll talk about that unique programming that affords our high school students to earn an associate's degree while they're getting their high school diploma. We look at mixed age groupings, first grade through eighth grade, which means teams have 2 grades. It's first and second, third and fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. And this allows students to become leaders and followers at different times throughout their school journey. We look at what are the students' needs? Where do they need to be placed? If I'm accelerated in math and really at second grade need to be in a third grade or a fourth grade class, our master schedule allows us to do that. We have advocacy, our social emotional learning, every single day. This month in December, our focus is the greater good. So what can we do? How can we use our own talents and strengths to serve a greater good or to impact the greater good? And that might be our family, that might be our classroom, our community, the United States, the world at large. What can we do to serve a greater good? And that happens every single day, that social emotional learning. We use mindfulness in classes. We breathe before tests. We relax. And then we have a unique and manageable homework policy. And that is that from kindergarten through eighth grade, if you're busy and doing your work in class, you do not have homework. We ask all students to read every day and to practice some math skills with their family, counting, doing financial literacy, those kinds of things. But we truly believe if students are hard at work all day at school, they should be able to be with their families, pursue their passions, be in sports and clubs, just be a kid and play outside. And so this is something that we have found that serves our students very, very well. Also our teachers, instead of them teaching all day in the class, sort of lecturing and kids taking notes and then doing the work at home, our teachers get to watch our students solve problems, ask them about their thought process, figure out where they really are so that they know what to do next for every student. When a student goes home and does work there, the teachers are really missing an opportunity to see where they are in their learning. And our kindergarten is a full day of academics, but in our academics, we also have an hour of recess for kindergartners. They have imaginative playtime, just where they can dream of worlds and make up rules to games. And then they have purposeful play, where teachers choose different items to be out in the classroom that reinforce the learning that's happening in the classroom. Body. Our brain needs our body to be moving, to be working at full capacity. So we allow students to move in class. We have intentional movement in the building. They move within their learning. We have physical education for all grades, health education, learning about nutrition and things like that. Movement breaks, teachers will have purposeful movement breaks throughout the learning. And as I said, recess for kindergarten through 8th grade students every single day. Kindergarten has an hour, 1st through 4th grade has 45 minutes, and 30 minutes 5th through 8th. And sometimes 1st and 2nd grade have more than that when the specials teachers give them a little break at the end to move before they go back into the classroom. We allow flexible seating, and we teach students about self-regulation, and teachers model and practice that. I need to take a breath. That was a lot that we just learned. Let's get up, let's stretch. I think I need a drink of water. My body feels thirsty. Teaching those self-regulation skills so that kids can use them throughout life. Everyone in our school has the opportunity to take a break. And that's a student saying to a teacher, if they're feeling overwhelmed, I need to take a break. And the teacher will say you can go into, a calming area in the classroom, or maybe they want to go into the pod area, get a drink of water, go for a quick walk and come back. This is what adults do. We learn to regulate by realizing that we're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, learning those feelings in our body, and then being able to acknowledge them, voice them, and then do something about them. Community. Community is a huge part of our school. We have leadership opportunities, as I said, the multi-grade teams. Our teachers, the 4 teachers on every team work together for all 100 students. So they know them, they talk about them every single day. They have planning period together. They talk about what the learning looks like for each student all day long as they move to different classes. We have service learning K-12. Our high school students, the freshmen serve our local community. Sophomores serve the state, and juniors go nationally, usually to New Mexico to work for Habitat for Humanity and help build a house for a week. And then our seniors go internationally, and they've been to Belize to do turtle research. They've been to Thailand to do to work with elephants there. They've been to Costa Rica. They've been to Puerto Rico. Our students travel and learn what service can be internationally. We love our families to be engaged. We have community events. We invite parents and families to come in and volunteer. It really is about, as I said, that partnership between school, family, and child that's so important to the community at Westgate. What makes our community so special? And as you're looking at schools, you want to ask that. What I can say about Westgate is we have a profound understanding of gifted learning. We understand best educational practice, and we understand our kids from age 5 to 18. We really understand who they are and what they need. Service learning and environmental education are foundational to our programming here. I'll talk about our environmental campus. We have 6 acres, which have chickens and goats and bees at the far end. And our students learn about all of them throughout their learning. They learn how to recycle appropriately. They learn about the impact on the environment and how that impacts us as human beings. And then I talked a little bit about our concurrent enrollment at high school. It really is an advanced program for advanced learners who want to go to college and get that high school diploma at the same time that they're getting or earning their associate's degree at Front Range Community College. To talk about our profound understanding of gifted learners, I'm going to use a quote from Linda Silverman, who runs the Gifted Developmental Center here in Westminster. When gifted children are asked what they most desire, the answer is often a friend. They're looking for somebody who sees them and understands them, and who they understand at a profound level. And what we know about gifted kids is that friendships are so, so important, and they value them so deeply. It's a reminder that connection, belonging, and love are the foundation for everything. And that love our students have shows through our service learning and our environmental education. In K-12 service learning, every single week, students will become an expert on a topic, and it varies as they grow through the school. They identify a service project that will be helpful, useful, and pertinent. It's not just like, I like cats, let's do something for cats. They really look at the community, and they reach out to organizations and find out what would be helpful to you. How can we be in service to you? And then once they go through the year and complete their service learning project and learning, they present the project to the community. And it's an amazing way for them to share what they know with others. It's an outlet for students who may not see the point of all of the classes through the day. Those students many times shine in service learning. They become leaders. It's a wonderful thing. Past projects include recycling, wild animal habitats, wildfires, bees, unhoused populations, goats, gardening, animal shelter support, just on and on, what our students get involved in. Environmental education is a critical need of gifted learners. And this was just said at the NAGC, which is the National Association for Gifted Children. The exquisite sensitivity of the gifted needs nurturing support for it to flourish. Teach gifted learners to love themselves, one another, and the planet. This is a need for students. Again, Linda Silverman, alongside Joy Lynn and Michelle Kane, speaking about the social justice mindset of many gifted kids and how the environment plays into that, and how they can learn to appreciate the beauty of our world and help support our world. These are some diagrams of our environmental education campus. We're very, very lucky to have built this in partnership with Adams County. It allows playgrounds, room to run, to be outside, to see the plants and trees flourish on our campus, but also to learn about animals and their habitats. And as I said, outside we have goats and chickens and bees, and inside we have Opal, an albino corn snake, and we have Blanche, our facility dog, who's here every single day. She's a golden retriever who works with both of our counselors and goes to see student projects and presentations, and she helps students who are maybe having a tough day. She's here as a member of our mental health team. So our high school programming, it's big and it's very, very small. As I said, 30 students, but our students get on a bus every day and they head over to Front Range, one of the largest community colleges in our area. So they really do get an early college experience with the support of their family, their teachers and counselors here, as well as the high school office at Front Range Community College. There's more opportunities for advanced learning at the college level than you'll get at most high schools through IB or AP, and I'll talk a little bit about the differences there. Our students take college classes with college students, and those experiences are so rich. And other high schools who offer college classes, it's usually all the high school students in the room with a high school teacher who can teach a college class. But to have to work with a professor with college students that may be in age from you 14 up until 88 gives you a really robust views of opinions and thoughts in the classroom. Our students can earn an associate's degree. As I said, they also can get certificates like the CNA, automotive degrees, cybersecurity, architecture classes and certificates along the way. So it is really less traditional than most high schools, a lot less traditional than most high schools. It's less restrictive, and it allows students many opportunities to explore what their passions are. High school highlights. We help students choose those courses at Front Range Community College with the College Now office. We transport them by bus there. We pay the tuition while they're in college. Freshmen can take 1 class a semester, sophomores can take 2 classes, juniors can take 3, and seniors are actually at the college Monday through Thursday, taking up to 4 classes a week, and they're only on our campus on Fridays. It's a wonderful opportunity for students who are ready to take on that challenge. They are full FRCC students, so they have access to all of their resources, all of their extracurricular clubs, the gym, the library, the writing lab, the math lab, all of it is offered to our students in high school. They can earn up to 60 credit hours and all of those certificate and VOTEC options. So again, what makes us special? We are inclusive, full-time gifted education. You know, if you're a parent of a gifted child or you're a gifted person yourself, you are gifted 24/7. Your child is gifted 24/7. Even their sleep is different than typical students. And what we know about that, we bring into every minute they're in school. And it's also inclusive. You do not have to have an IQ score to turn in at your in your application. We know parents are great identifiers, and I'll talk about that. But we also do gifted screening here at different levels, and we will create a body of evidence to submit to the district to get your child an advanced learning plan and get them identified as gifted if you do not decide to go the testing route with kids. And we know with a lot of kids, that's a lot of pressure at young ages. So we know what we're doing in that area. And we make sure that families where maybe one child tested gifted and the other child is maybe talent pool, or you decide not to test them, they can be together in a school, and you don't have to do that for every child. In Colorado, we have this like wonderful, rich history of gifted education and the building blocks and understanding of what gifted and talented truly is. So George Betts and Maureen Neihart were teaching at Arvada West High School in the late 70s, and they were placed in a special education room. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. Special education room. And what they started to notice about the students is they were clever, smart, they could negotiate, get out of things. And they started to think, what are we missing about these kids? And they started down a long road, a long journey of researching gifted and talented education. And they came up with 5 types to begin with. And type 1 is the successful gifted student. This is the gifted students that most teachers are taught about in teacher and education programs. These are stereotypical. They raise their hand, they turn in all their work, they remember their shoes in the morning, they help other students when they're done, they ask if they can clean the whiteboard. These are students who are typically identified for gifted programs. And as I go through this, I want our listeners to remember that you are not one type your whole life when you're gifted. Type 2, we now call creative. Back in the day, they called them the challenging student. And you may know this person. They're nonconformist, they're divergent thinkers, they challenge teachers. They're the student who's 5 and is very much an expert on presidents or dinosaurs or Pokemon, and they know everything there is to know about it, and they will challenge adults, not meaning to be rude, but just to correct and to clarify. Type 3 is the underground student, and these are students, this happens a lot in middle school, where students try to underachieve so that their friends don't know how gifted they are. They ask their teachers, please don't read my work out loud anymore, please don't read my poem out loud anymore, it embarrasses me. And this happens a lot to girls in middle school, as well as athletes. They try to sort of dim their light to fit in socially. So these students are our underground kids who may think that being identified gifted means more work. It should never mean more work. It should be more fulfilling work. Type 4 is our at-risk. They used to be called dropouts. What we know is these students perceive school as irrelevant. They're the 6-year-old who's in the back of your car saying, don't take me to school. Can I just go to work with you? They want to pursue their interests. They're the student in the back of the room who's creating an amazing paperclip sculpture that you want to ask them about. But many times they get shut down because they're not doing the thing they're supposed to be doing in class. What we know about dropouts is this doesn't happen when they turn 16 or 17 years old overnight. It's a slow process that happens through school where their light, their energy and their passions are shut down over and over again. What we want to do here is embrace those passions and help those students explore them in a way they're still building their skills and their standards. Twice exceptional and multi-exceptional. These are students who are gifted. They have gifted identification in one hand, that IQ score, and they have a disability or many disabilities. On the other hand, it could be, ADHD, it could be anxiety, it could be a reading disability like dyslexia or dysgraphia. These are students whose talents many times are dimmed by the disability, and the disability is hidden or hides the giftedness. Parents are the best identifiers of young twice exceptional students. And sometimes they'll come into the first grade teacher and say, I think there's something special about Sharon. You should hear the things and the connections she makes in the back of the car when we're listening to songs or about the clouds in the skies. And the teacher says, I really don't see it. They're really sort of, right there at grade level, working along with their other students. And it's not until about 5th or 6th grade where the content gets much more difficult and moves much faster that the giftedness can no longer hide the disability, and the student can't just catch on by watching their peers. So twice exceptional and multi-exceptional students. And so these were the 5 types that for a long time were thought in gifted education to remain. But Betts and Nyhart said, no, there's actually something else. And this is where we want all gifted students to go. We want them type 6. to become autonomous learners. So we want them to leave behind those other 5 modalities that gifted students can take on. And we want them to enjoy learning for learning. We want them to become intrinsically motivated. At Westgate, we do that between kindergarten and 8th grade. So no kindergarten parents, your kindergarten student will not be an autonomous learner like overall at the end of the year. But what we do through our advocacy program is build those skills in students and within our academic programming where they learn those skills to understand the difference between grades and mastery, and to build that self-advocacy and that autonomous skill of learning. What is the answer to that? I need to know it. Where can I find it? No longer do students have to pull an encyclopedia off a shelf and open it up. We can, we have the world and information at our fingertips. So students become empowered and self-directed. We want them to be problem solvers, not say, I can't do this, but what else am I not knowing? What else can I do here? We want them to look at another student and say, how did you get that? Show me how you got that, and work with one another. And we want them to be reasonable risk takers. We want our students to embrace creative thinking. And that means in classrooms, there has to be safety and trust with the students, with their peers, and with the teacher who's the leader of that learning in the classroom. We want it to be more cooperative than competitive. Students compete on their own naturally. They do not need it set up within the classroom to dismantle the trust and the safety. We want a community of learners. Again, the teacher setting up the learning and the students working cooperatively to say, how did you get that? What was your thinking? Can you take me through it? And we know that choices are essential for students. How am I going to show this learning? Do I want to do it auditorily? Is it a written? Is it through visual? How am I going to explain what I know about this subject area? And our goal is working and creating becomes worthwhile, that kids want to do it, and that is intrinsically rewarding. So how do we define success? You know, Westgate Community School is a public charter school, Adams 12 school, and so we do look at test scores. We take the MAP, NWEA MAP test 3 times a year, and this shows growth for students over time. What are they learning? And then also for teachers, it shows gaps in learning so they know where to focus to build those skills for students so they can grow higher and faster. CMAS is both performance it's a performance. We are a performance rated school, and it looks at both achievement and growth in every student 3rd through 8th grade, and then also for science in 11th grade. And so we are looking at math, reading, writing, language arts, and science, and the social studies test has recently been dropped, and those students, it's more embedded in the writing part of the assessment. So here is a cohort. When they were in 11th grade, we continued to give MAP assessments whilst we started our high school to make sure our students were growing. Since they were going off campus, we wanted to make sure that their skills and knowledge were still growing. We no longer give the MAP test in high school because they're taking finals here, midterm finals and midterms and finals within their college classes. And so that data alone is giving us information on their growth. But you see here in the red line, that's the national norm for math. And the blue line, our students around 8th grade start to diverge from the norm. Yes, they started out a little bit above the national average, but by the time they ended, that gap was much higher. This happened also in reading. And you'll see that same cohort. I'll talk about 7th grade. I came into this school 11 years ago, and there were a few years I wasn't here. And I used to make up the story like, oh, somebody must have broken up with somebody, or something dramatic happened socially that made that score go down. And what I found out was that a teacher had to leave mid-year, and this cohort had a loss of a teacher. So it says to me how important stable teachers are to kids and to learning. Yes, this group jumped back, but there was an impact there. And then you see in reading, they even fare better than in math. And we believe that's because of the rigorous classes they're taking here. Also the service and environmental education, but then also going to college classes where they're being challenged at an academic level that suits their needs and into their individuality. So SAT scores in high school, last year, 2023, the state average was 989, the district was 998.3, and Westgate was 1139.1. We only had 18 students in our graduating class last year. So what that means is if a few students really had low scores, that average would really be pulled down because of the small n. But our students fared very, very well on the SAT and continue. Again, our school has been a performance-rated school for the entire time I've been here, and our students do very well on testing, even though we don't teach to the test. We don't buy study guides. We don't ask our teachers to do study guides with our kids. The state's standards and building those skills year after year is what helps our students be successful on these tests. Matriculation. We have students at all CU schools, at Metro. We have students finish their associates at FRCC. We also have students who go to Stanford and NYU and Arizona and Colorado College, Brigham Young. We have them at art schools. So our students go on to do many, many things. We have a student this year who will be entering military service. We're very excited for all of our students. And what we believe happens from K through 12 is students truly learn who their authentic self is and what the next step, the right next step is for them. We always keep in mind, however, this quote from Dr. Eisner: the more we stress in school only what we can measure, the more we need to remember that not everything that is measurable matters, and not everything that matters is measurable. And so sometimes we need to take a step back and think about what is it that we do here that matters. Our environmental education and our kids' connection to their world around them matters. Students working with these goats matters. We have a peer mentoring program that is nationally recognized where our high school students apply to become a peer mentor to K-8 students. They're trained by our counselors, and we have high school interns who are seniors who help lead the program. It's an amazing program. You can hear about it on NPR if you search that. And we have wonderful traditions at this school. We're a K-12 school, so when CMAS happens, kindergartners, first and second graders have to be quiet in the hallways when testing is happening. So we explain it to them. And as part of their service, they create these amazing posters that sort of blanket the walls to cheer on our 3rd through 8th graders who are testing. And by the time they get to 3rd grade, they're not afraid of taking the test. They're looking forward to seeing, like, what are the little kids going to do for us, and what will it be like? And we believe that's a great tradition. We also have the tradition of working collaboratively as a school to reach goals. So we were contacted this year by Senior Hub here in Adams County, and they said their food bank was running really low before Thanksgiving. So we decided to set a goal of collecting 1,000 items of non-perishable goods for Senior Hub within a week. We didn't have a lot of lead time. We had to get the information out to parents, but we didn't pit advocacy against advocacy and say, oh, the advocacy on each team that collects the most gets a party or an extra recess. What we said is, we as a community are going to collect at least 1,000 items. And when we do, we'll celebrate together. And we did. And just last Friday, we had an amazing 10-minute dance party in the hallway. And we had music going and the kids were dancing and we celebrated our success together. And that's what builds community. And that's what redefines success at Westgate. A little bit about our bully prevention program and how we are leaders in this area. We love this. In October, it's Bully Prevention Month nationwide. And every month, every October, we teach that enough walk, talk policy. And the students use it. If somebody is saying something that's not nice, a bystander can say, enough, you have to stop. And everybody has been taught this, and so they know what to do. I'm proud of our students for standing up for themselves, standing up for one another, and making our community a safe place to be. Every student that has recess is trained every year about those buddy benches. And what we know is the learning sinks in, because we had a couple of moms sitting outside at the end of the day and they were just chit-chatting on the buddy bench, and a student went over to them and said, you need to move to those other benches because you clearly have a friend. So they know what those buddy benches are for. And if for some reason, you don't want to play with your typical friends that day, or your best friend is homesick, you can sit on the buddy bench and somebody at Westgate's going to come over and invite you to play with them at recess. And it's just a wonderful community that the kids have built and the kids lead. And it's time that we think is important to spend with students. Yes, Westgate is a performance-rated school in academics, but there's more happening here about the whole child and who they will become as adults and as community members. And we know that. At Westgate, we love a TED Talk. So I'm going to show you a TED Talk and talk about it in just a minute. So 15 years ago, when our founders, and Rochelle is one of those founders, when they went before the Adams 12 School Board and said, you know, we want to start a charter that's small by design, that recognizes the whole child and gives 30 minutes a day to social emotional learning. And we're not going to follow any one set curriculum because kids are different from year to year, and our teachers are professionals and need to be able to be creative with the kids who are in front of them, who they're teaching that year. And we're going to use the state standards to guide our learning, and allow teachers to serve those individual students in an individualized way. It didn't sound like most of the schools then. Our calendar is a little different. And when you come on a tour with Rochelle, you will see all of these things in place. But what we knew was the parents who got it and saw their kids as whole human beings and wanted to see them flourish in a well-rounded way, they came on board and the school grew and grew. And what we have proved is some of that crazy thinking back then is what is just good education. It's what all kids need. And we're continuing to sort of push the edges and use innovation in spaces in our specials with our design thinking class, and in other areas with problem-based learning, and asking our teachers to really hone their craft and become specialists. So yes, it is a little bit different than a traditional school, but if it's right for you and your family, it will be the perfect place for your child to grow over the years. So what is this enrollment process all about? And how many seats? I know there's always questions. How many seats are going to be in third grade? How many seats are going to be in fourth grade? And we don't know yet. But what we do know is what you need to do to get into this process. And that is come to our website. And if you haven't already, complete the application. It opened on December 1st. And it closes January 31st. And that's in alignment with Adams 12 and their choice program. So attend an information night, check you're here, take a tour. Hopefully some of you have been on the tour already and you've heard all of the wonderful things. It's sort of more the nuts and bolts, like, you know, how does lunch work? What's before and after care like? You'll be able to see the pod and the kids working within the classrooms, get all those questions answered on a tour. And you can sign up for a tour through our website as well. You wait for your lottery results. They will be sent out on February 13th. And each team does have a different number of students. We know kindergarten will be around 54 students. We said 18 students per class, and we have 3 kindergarten classes. And then 1st through 8th grade have 50 students per grade, 2 classrooms each on a 4 classroom team. And the rest of the students are put into the wait pool. The first priority for K-8 go to siblings. So if you have a child who has a sibling in the school, that will give them priority. And then in-district students and out-of-district students. And what we do is towards the end of the application process, we ask all current Westgate families if they intend to re-enroll next year. And a lot of times families know we're going to be moving, whether it's within Colorado or out of state for work, things like that. And they release their seats and we offer those seats right away. So we try to get a good number before that February 13th date, where the application program generates the students who will be getting those seat offers, and everybody else is put into the wait pool. If you're applying for more than one student, if one student gets an offer letter and another student does not, accept that seat, because then that moves the second student into the sibling arena where they move up in the pool for priority. So please talk to Rochelle through this whole process. She can tell you everything you need to know about the application, any questions you have, and about the wait pool. For high school, there's an extra step that you need to do. You apply to our high school using the application. You have to apply to Front Range Community College and get a student number or an S number. And then you take the AccuPlacer. This will tell us if your child is college ready. So it'll give a math and a reading or literacy score. You do not have to take both parts of the AccuPlacer in one sitting. So if your child's strength is reading and writing, go take that literacy piece first. Wait till another day when they're feeling very mathy, go get it, maybe do some prep work before that math test, go take the second part of it. The AccuPlacer, though, gives priority for the high school seats. So Westgate students who have college ready AccuPlacers are first, then Adams 12 with AccuPlacer scores, then out of district with AccuPlacer scores. Then students who do not qualify for college classes or don't take the AccuPlacer, Westgate students will be 4th, Adams 12 students will be 5th, and out of district students will be 6th. So that's the priority for high school. Again, take a tour. We also, for 5th through 12th grade, have shadow days available. Talk to Rochelle about that. Your child can come for half a day and see if it works for them. For freshman class, there are 30 seats available, and the other classes, it'll depend if students leave, if seats are available. Once accepted, you'll attend an FRCC information meeting and an advisor meeting where they choose their fall class for 2024. Again, it's an exciting time, and they will be choosing those fall classes before the end of this 8th grade year for them. So one more video in conclusion. We think Steve Jobs would have been a great Westgate kid. School is going to fill a large part of your lives over the next 13 years if you're a kindergarten parent. So I urge you, search for the right school, the right fit for your child. Drown out all the other voices who are around you. You know your child best, and you know the best school, whether they're in kindergarten, 2nd grade, 5th grade, 8th grade, whether they're going into high school. You know, and you have a great instinct about what school will fit your child. Whether it's Westgate or not, I urge you to find that school. When the child meets the right academic program, magic happens. And do not settle until you find that for your child and for your family. It's the best thing that can happen. So I thank you for being here tonight. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Thoughts about anything. We're at 7:06. We're just a little over. Usually the in-person with questions is about an hour and a half, so we're just on time. Questions.
Yeah. Are there any after-school programs or clubs for elementary school students?
Yes, there are. So every quarter we have a different variety of clubs. We have a stable before and after school program through Champions. There you can come to school as early as 6:30, and they are with students until 6 p.m. Every evening, and they do full day programs when we have breaks or days off. But clubs, there's typing club and handwriting club and sewing club and Rubik's Cube club and Sticky Fingers, which is a cooking club. And there's sound formation that teaches piano, and there's a chess club, and there's yoga. In the fall, there was a running club, there was outdoor sports. So lots of different clubs and activities for students to get involved in, and they change every quarter. We have theater groups and plays that happen at school. So a little bit of everything. Our 7, 8 students have a rock band they get involved in. So lots of different things for students to try.
And how many kinder classrooms do we have?
3. We have 3 kinder classrooms.
And after they apply, do they need to reach out to schedule an assessment, or is that just a regular process?
No, you do not, unless it's a high school. Then you need to reach out and do the AccuPlacer, which is an assessment. But we accept our students, and then before the beginning of the year, we will reach out to you and plan a kindergarten readiness assessment, which helps us understand before day one who your student is, what kind of learner, what their strengths might be, what passions they might have, and it helps our teachers place students in their kindergarten classes.
And then the last question is, what is our average rate of applied versus accepted kinder students?
Oh my gosh. Every year it's different, so it's difficult depending on how many applications you have. We have, so it's every year is different, so that's hard. Last year it was, it was less than 50% with how many kinder applications we had. But there were some of those students decided to go to other schools too. So it wasn't just that they didn't get into Westgate and went to a different school. Some of them, had a different first choice that they chose. So, it looks different. They may not have gotten a seat here, but they may have gotten a seat somewhere else.
All right. Oh, they said thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. We appreciate you spending the evening with us, and we're glad we could do this virtually, so childcare didn't need to happen and you could be at home and in comfort. So thank you so much.